Did you know that behind Texas's big skies, booming economy, and legendary pride, lies a side of the Lone Star State that no one talks about? From rising crime in once safe suburbs to environmental disasters lurking in your drinking water, Texas hides a darker reality beneath the surface. The cowboy charm, wide highways, and oil-rich legacy may dominate the headlines, but there's an underbelly that many Texans live with daily. Before you pack your bags, start that job search, or romanticize cowboy life, there are shocking truths you absolutely need to know. Stick around as we uncover the dark side of Texas, what no one will warn you about. This is not your typical travel brochure. This is 10 globe trips pulling back the curtain and telling the full story. Texas is often advertised as an economic utopia, a haven for business owners, tech startups, and remote workers escaping high-cost states like California and New York. With no state income tax, relatively affordable corporate taxes, and a low regulatory burden, it sounds like a capitalist's dream. Cities like Austin, Dallas, and Houston boast glittering skylines and rapid expansion, while mega-corporations like Tesla and Oracle have set up major hubs here. But what's often hidden behind these headlines is a growing affordability crisis. Wages, especially in service and blue-collar sectors, haven't risen in proportion to living costs. According to 2025 Texas Labor Commission data, the median hourly wage sits around $18.75, hardly enough when average rents in Austin are now above $2,000 for a one-bedroom apartment. Even tech professionals aren't immune. While job openings are plentiful, the competition is fierce, benefits packages are shrinking, and burnout is rampant. The gig economy is thriving, but without strong labor protections or benefits. Texas is a right-to-work state, which severely limits union power, and the unemployment safety net ranks among the weakest in the country. For many residents, the promise of economic freedom is quickly replaced with the reality of paycheck-to-paycheck survival. You might be able to land a job here, but building real wealth, owning property, or saving for the future? That's becoming increasingly difficult. Remember the Texas power grid failure in 2021? Millions left freezing in their homes, dozens dead, and billions lost, all because the state chose to remain isolated from the national grid to avoid federal oversight. Fast forward to 2025, and despite repeated warnings from energy experts, that grid is still vulnerable. In fact, this summer saw the return of rolling blackouts in regions like West Texas and the Rio Grande Valley, as soaring temperatures caused demand to overwhelm outdated systems. ERCOT, the state's Electric Reliability Council, continues to face criticism for mismanagement and underinvestment in winterization and green alternatives. But it doesn't stop with electricity. Water infrastructure is cracking under pressure too. Texas is battling some of the worst drought conditions in modern history, with reservoirs like Lake Travis and Lake Buchanan dropping to record lows. In places like Midland, Amarillo, and El Paso, water rationing has already started, affecting everything from agriculture to basic household usage. Pipes in older neighborhoods are bursting more frequently, and boil water notices have become disturbingly common. Climate variability, overpopulation, and poor planning have combined to create a looming infrastructure crisis that most residents and newcomers are unprepared for. Texas is geographically diverse and naturally beautiful, from the coastal beaches of Galveston to the high plains of the Panhandle. But in 2025, it's also ground zero for climate-related disasters. The state now experiences an average of over 150 days a year with extreme heat warnings, especially in densely populated areas like Houston and San Antonio. The heat is so intense that schools are canceling outdoor activities for weeks at a time, and emergency rooms are seeing spikes in heat stroke and dehydration cases. Tornadoes are striking with increasing frequency and ferocity, with 5 major outbreaks in 2025 alone. In North Dallas, an EF4 tornado demolished over 500 homes, displacing thousands. Meanwhile, Hurricane Emery, a Category 4 monster, tore through the Gulf Coast, causing mass evacuations, overwhelming flood defenses, and inflicting over $12 billion in damage. Despite all this, Texas remains politically divided on climate action. While local activists and city councils in Austin and San Antonio push for sustainability, state leadership continues to prioritize oil and gas development. Renewable energy projects are underfunded, and emergency response systems are stretched thin. Whether you're a digital nomad, retiree, or young family considering a move here, the increasingly volatile weather is something you simply cannot ignore. Texas is one of the few U.S. states that has consistently refused to expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. As a result, over 17% of residents, more than 5 million people, are still uninsured in 2025, the highest rate in the nation. This lack of coverage leads to delayed diagnoses, untreated conditions, and overburdened emergency rooms. In rural counties like Presidio, Crockett, and Jasper, hospitals are shutting down at alarming rates due to financial insolvency, leaving residents to travel over 100 miles just to see a specialist. In major cities, the situation isn't much better. Emergency rooms in Houston and Dallas often have wait times exceeding 12 hours, especially during peak flu or heatwave seasons. And then there's the reproductive healthcare crisis. Since the implementation of a near-total abortion ban in 2022, access to women's health services, including prenatal and postnatal care, has declined sharply. In 2025, Texas recorded the highest maternal mortality rate in the country, with Black women 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than their white counterparts. So while Texas offers open spaces and a freedom-first mindset, if you face a health emergency here, freedom might come with a heavy price. Gone are the days when crime was viewed as an inner-city problem. In 2025, violent crime has spread into suburbs and exurbs across the state. In outer Austin neighborhoods like Pflugerville and Round Rock, residents report increased burglaries, carjackings, and drug-related activity. Similarly, Fort Worth suburbs have seen a 20% uptick in gun violence, and some school districts have even reintroduced metal detectors and armed security on campuses. The rise in crime isn't just anecdotal. The Texas Department of Public Safety confirms a 15% year-over-year increase in gun-related incidents statewide. Despite these numbers, Texas remains one of the easiest states to acquire and carry a firearm. Permitless carry laws mean that almost anyone can carry a handgun in public without training or background checks. Add to that rising immigration enforcement along the southern border, complete with armed citizen patrols, military checkpoints, and heated political rhetoric, and the social atmosphere feels increasingly tense. Racial profiling incidents are on the rise, civil rights organizations are filing lawsuits, and marginalized communities feel more unsafe than ever. For outsiders, especially immigrants or travelers of color, this tension can feel both alienating and dangerous. Once considered a national leader in charter school innovation, Texas's public education system is now facing a severe crisis. In 2025, the state ranks 42nd in educational performance nationwide, with massive teacher shortages, crumbling school infrastructure, and falling test scores. Teachers are leaving the profession in droves due to low wages, lack of respect, and a politically charged curriculum environment. Some school districts, like those in East Texas and parts of San Antonio, have student-to-teacher ratios as high as 1:45, with overwhelmed staff and under-resourced classrooms. Politics is exacerbating the problem. Statewide bans on discussing LGBTQ+ identities, systemic racism, or certain historical events have led to widespread book bans and the rewriting of social studies standards. Teachers are being investigated or even fired for simply answering student questions honestly. As a result, families seeking a quality education are left with few choices: pay for expensive private schools, move to more liberal urban districts, or homeschool. For working-class families and new residents, this becomes yet another hidden cost of living in the Lone Star State. Texas loves to market itself as a diverse and welcoming state, and demographically, it is. Latino, Black, Asian, and immigrant communities are the backbone of Texas culture, cuisine, and economy. But beneath the surface, systemic inequality persists. Gentrification in cities like Austin and Houston has displaced long-standing Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, replacing them with luxury condos, boutique coffee shops, and inflated rents. In South Texas, working-class Latino families are being priced out by tech migrants and retirees from out of state. Meanwhile, ICE raids and Border Patrol checkpoints have created a climate of fear in places like Laredo, McAllen, and El Paso, where even U.S. citizens of Latino descent report being harassed. Hate crimes against Asian and LGBTQ+ communities have risen sharply, over 2,000 cases reported statewide in 2024 alone. Racial bias in policing continues to plague communities like Beaumont and Waco, with disproportionate arrest rates and use of force incidents. So while Texas may celebrate its multicultural identity, many of its residents continue to experience life through the lens of exclusion, inequality, and fear. Texas is bold. It's beautiful. It's full of opportunity and energy. But it's also complex, contradictory, and sometimes deeply dangerous. Beneath the state's "go big or go home" attitude lies a web of overlooked challenges: economic inequality, crumbling infrastructure, extreme weather, and simmering social unrest. These are the stories that don't make the headlines. The truths you won't hear in relocation seminars, digital nomad guides, or glossy tourism campaigns. Whether you're thinking about moving to Texas, investing in real estate, or simply visiting as a curious traveler, you deserve the full picture. This isn't about fearmongering. It's about awareness. Because understanding both the light and the dark sides of a place gives you power. The power to protect your well-being, plan realistically, and experience the world with open eyes. If you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button. It helps us reach more curious travelers just like you. Have you been to Texas? Are you currently living there? Or maybe you're planning to move soon? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your real stories, both the good and the bad. And don't forget to subscribe to 10 Globe Trips for more brutally honest travel insights, deep dives, and destination breakdowns you won't find anywhere else. Remember, every destination has two sides. At 10 Globe Trips, we show you both. Stay smart, stay safe, and stay curious. We'll see you in the next video.